The focus on my platform is a rule of 10. 3 people for, 3 people against, 4 people undecided. That guy that we're going to address is a person that's against. And I'm getting tired of these woke, pro-black, degrading black men with no solution talking points. We've heard these before. We've heard all this rhetoric saying that black men are this, black men are that. But if you give no solutions in regards to what you're talking about, then I don't want to hear it. And also, if you don't have any type of information behind the talking points that you say, then you are causing more damage to the black community than you can ever imagine. As much work that I'm putting in on this over this past year in regards to protecting the black male ethnic image, that can all be done away with one guy like this guy that we're going to review. Because when you talk like that,
black men are the weakest link. 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 Men are the weakest link. Black 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 men are the weakest link.
So I want to sit up here and really tell y'all that black men being the weakest links, it's nothing new under the sun.
This is what I mean when I say black men are the weakest links.
For some odd reason, that's a positive to a large contingent of black women. You guys seen the picture that I posted on the community tab. There was a black man that was spreading some hateful rhetoric about black men. And these talking points are not new. These are the types of conversations that black men cannot afford to have when you have a large contingent of black women watching. Because when you do this, and if you listen to the background when he's saying this stuff, all you hear is black men and black women agreeing with what he's saying. And as a black man, I could never put myself in a position to sit there and say that black men are the weakest link. Compared to who? We just had a full live stream on our black men at the bottom. Debunk that. But these guys never cite any research sources, anything. They just put these blanket statements out there as it's true or not. And I get tired of this foolery, seeing this stuff. But I'm going to let him cook, and then we're going to start talking about some of the points that he made, and I'm going to give y'all a little bit of history. So, without further ado, let's listen to what this brother has to say.
Black men are the weakest link. We the weakest link, bro. And niggas ain't going to want to admit it because it's too shameful, man. You know what I'm saying? We run around here calling ourselves kings and queens and all this other shit.
So, now, I don't know what he's talking about. We run around here calling ourselves kings and queens. Fair use, by the way. But he's saying that black men are running around calling themselves kings and queens. Who is he referring to? Is he referring to the pro-blacks, the Dr. Umar crew, the Hotep? You know, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but that's a name that's associated with, I guess, pro-black men and women. Let's say that much. So I don't know where he gets that from, but he's kind of conflating two different types of black men, if that makes sense. So let's continue.
We don't own shit. We ain't trying to build shit. We won't come together and build together. None of that shit, bro. All we do is promote the destruction of one another, man. That's all.
Who? How many black men are promoting the destruction of one another? Y'all been on my platform long enough. Who is he talking to? Put some numbers to it. Do you think that half the black men or all the black men are promoting this hurtful rhetoric to the community? Be specific when you're on these platforms. This guy, man, these dudes do this type of foolery. All right, let's continue.
We do. You know what I'm saying? By the way of hip hop, by the way of social media, all this other shit. Man, white folks come along and do us any kind of way, bro. They can kill another one of us right in front of us, bro, and we ain't gonna do shit. We ain't gonna do nothing but march, bro. All we gonna do is march.
Who is he talking to? Who is he talking about? Lord.
But the moment another one of us, the moment somebody that looks just like you, bro, the moment somebody looks just like you make a comment on social media that they don't agree with, they ready to come kill you and your whole family, dog. You know what I'm saying? We running around here, we kings and queens of what, nigga? We don't own shit. We won't even save the money and put it in our community so we can build together, bro. You know what I'm saying? But we want to sit up here and be proud. Proud of what, man? You know what I'm saying? You call the white boy weak all you want to, man. When he fell play, guess what that nigga did? He went storm the Capitol. All we gonna do.
What? That's not a flex, bro. You talking about white men storm the Capitol, and that's something that black men supposed to do, knowing that we the most over policed and overly targeted by law enforcement? Why do let's continue, man.
Is march. All we gonna do is protest and march and beg somebody to do something for us, man. You know what I'm saying? We gotta stand up for ourselves. Right now, economically, bro, we the weakest link, man. All these basketball players, all these rapping ass niggas, bro, we ain't got no schools, we ain't got no banks, we ain't got no hospitals and nothing, Kimpo.
When you say messages like this, black people, in particular black women, will go back and they will associate all of these talking points to all black men without knowing the actual truth of the black men that are causing these issues and the black women that are causing these issues. So you cannot sit there and say that this applies to all black men. And that's what they tend to do when, you know, election season comes around. All black men are bad. All black men are doing this. And that's what I've been working for this whole year to try and get the black community to understand. It's okay to identify the small minority of black men who may be causing problems. It's okay to call out the black women who are causing the issues, but don't sit there and put that to all black men. That's the problem. So this is that same rhetoric that's been going on since I was young, man, and nobody ever quantifies what they're talking about. That's a problem. I've been trying to say this as much as possible. Election time. You're going to hear these same talking points that I've already talked about on this platform. You have to quantify. You have to tell the black community specifically, who are you talking about? How many black men? What black men are causing issues in the black community? That's the issue. And this and some points that he made, he was saying, hey, where are the black hospitals? Where are the black banks? We deleting ourselves, you know, every time we see each other. These are the talking points that I want to address. And that's why I wanted to review this video, because it gives me a chance to educate the black community. And we're going to start here with the prison rates once again. And again, guys, I've done multiple videos on this, but you guys need to see this to put it in the context of what he's saying. His thing is that black men as a whole are the ones that's causing all of the issues in the black community. As you guys know, there are 20 million black men living in the United States. That represents, I want to say, 6.5% of the United States population. A lot of people cite this wrong. They'll say black men represent 13% of the population. No, there's black men and black women combined. But black men as a group, it's only 6.5%. So he's saying that out of the 20 million black men that's living in the United States, we're the ones that's causing the most issues. I take offense to that, because there's a lot of black men that don't fall into that category. Do y'all agree or disagree with me on that? Well, it don't really matter or not, because I'm going to show you the statistics anyway. Now, this is from the Prison Policy Organization. They have the most up-to-date and current information on the prison population. If you are new here, prepare to get educated. How many people are locked up in the United States? The U.S. locks up more people per capita than any other nation, at a staggering rate of 573 per 100,000 residents. But to end mass incarceration, we must first consider where and why 1.9 million people are confined nationwide. So ask yourself, for anybody who was clueless or wasn't aware of this information, didn't I just tell you that there's 20 million black men living in the United States? There's only 1.9 million people currently locked up. So at the, at the very least, 90% of black men would be free if that 2 million prison population was contributed, by black men. Again, I want to make this clear. If there's only 2 million people, 1.9 million people locked up in the United States, how can the majority of black men be bad if there's 20 million black men currently living in the United States. Does that make sense? I don't know why the black community does this, man. I don't understand why. And I'm just saying that, just hypothetically, if 1.9 million was black men. Well, we're going to break it down. So, you guys remember when I did the statistical breakdown on this, right? Look at this. Here's the actual numbers. How many black women are in prison? Black men and women account for roughly 13% of the general population. Black women account for 29% of the incarcerated women. 168,000 women are incarcerated. 29% of that 168,000 is 48,000 black women. Black women only constitute 0.22% of the current incarcerated population. And there's 21.68 million black women currently living in the United States. How many black men are in prison? Black men and women account for roughly 13% of the general population. Black men account for 35.4% of incarcerated men. So if there's 1.7 million incarcerated men, 35.4% or 1.7 million is 612,000 black men who are currently incarcerated. That constitutes 3.38% of black men in the general population that are currently incarcerated or in prison. So 3.38%. And that's why I take offense when we have guys like that get on platforms and they just spew out this information to make it seem like this applies to all black men. Out of all black men, only 38% are currently incarcerated. Then what does that tell you? The overwhelming majority of black men have nothing to do with these killings and these issues that's going on in regards to crime in the black community. So that's why we need to be very clear when we get on these spaces, and then you run the risk of something going viral. Because now you have the world, you have black women in particular, looking at this to make it seem like all black men are bad. And that's when you get women running around saying that black men are just offing black women 5 times every hour or some foolery like that. Now, do you guys understand why this is important? Jesus. And I'm not done on this, man. Let me show y'all something real quick. Just did a video on this debunking that 1 in 3. We just learned that black men have decreased their felony rates from 1 out of 3 to 1 out of 5. You guys don't believe me? Go back and watch the video, but you can also take a look at this. Look, so lifetime likelihood of imprisonment of U.S. males born in 2001. It's 1 in 10 for all men, 1 in 20 for white men, 1 in 5 for black men, and 1 in 8 for Latin men. So this used to be 1 in 3. As you can see right here, the lifetime likelihood of imprisonment for black men is falling from a staggering 1 in 3 for those born in 1981 to a still troubling 1 in 5 for black men born in 2001. These are the types of things, man, that you won't hear on, the news. You won't hear during election season. It's all bad, man. Goodness, did I get this? Nah, my bad, bro. Adonis said every race deletes themselves. Stupid statement to make about us deleting ourselves. But since the film Birth of a Nation, black men have always been publicized for any level of crime over others' perception. Yeah, man. And that's why they started coining that term black on black crime. It's no such thing. It's just crime. And I hate that I hate that terminology. I really do. Just trying to put the truth out there, man. Like, God, dog. How can all black men be responsible for the small minority of black men who may be causing issues in this? All right, KJ says, out of the total population of people incarcerated, black people as a whole are about 65%. No. No, man. That's false. It's only about 38%. 38% of the imprisonment population. And the funny thing is, when I say imprisonment, hold on, let me read something to you KJ. This is the first time I'm seeing you in here, so I want to be clear so you can go back and you can educate anybody who thinks what you thought. So when we talk about imprisonment, when most of the time when the black community talks about this, they just focus on prison, federal prison. I just gave you the numbers, the 1.9 million. Let me show you where that comes from. Look at that graph up there, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Together, these systems hold almost 2 million people. The 1.9 million, like I said, and that's in state prisons. That is 1,566 state prisons, 102 federal prisons, 2,850 local jails, 1,510 juvenile correctional facilities, 186 immigration detention facilities, and 82 Indian County jails, as well as military prisons, civil confinement centers, state psychiatric hospitals, and prisons in the U.S. territories. So what I just told you is that encompasses all forms of confinement, not just prison, right? So 38% black people represented in all of those places of confinement. So that's actually even more, that's more important than what you may have heard. Because if you just use federal prison, you're leaving out a large population of other jails, other confinement centers. I just gave you the full numbers. 1.9 million across all of those. So the FBI data, which compares crime rates in the third quarter of 2023 to the same period last year, found that violent crime has dropped 8%, while property crime fell 6.3% to what would be the lowest since 1961, according to criminologist Jeff Ashner, who analyzed the FBI numbers. So if y'all gonna have a problem with guys with saying that men are more feminine, then you have to give them credit for lowering our prison numbers. You have to give them credit for lowering the crime rate. You have to give them credit for lowering the felony rate from 1 to 3 to 1 to 5. So, and I'll tell you why I put the hypothetical stuff, right? So this is directly from the FBI. You see that? All violent crime offenders versus victim demographics. I got these numbers specifically for this and for what that guy was saying, that all black men are out there causing all these issues. This is the total of black men that committed violent crimes, all violent crimes in 2022. It came out to 378,448 black men. And that's the offender. White men, it was 389,000. So they had more violent offenders than black men. In 2022, there's your number. And I say hypothetically because women are included in that as well. And that's just not African American men. That's either black or African American. That includes Caribbean men, African men. Y'all see how they try and spin this narrative that all black men are bad? Now let's go here. Homicide offender versus victim demographics. And again, I put hypothetically because all black men and all black women are included in this. But let's just say this was all attributed to black men. Homicide offenders, 8,694 black or African American people. And I'm using black men as the bar because that's where, we tend to look towards, right? That constitutes 0.04% of the 20 million black men population, hypothetically. And I keep saying that for a reason. Women are included in this as well. Men from Africa, from the continent, Caribbean, all these men and women are included in that. But I just use it as a bar to show how it looks when attributed to black men. 0.04%. That's how many black men were homicide offenders in 2022. Grape. This is a popular one that our women like to focus on. The black women who hate black men, they always point to, well, black men are graping all of us, failing to mention that the men that they're trying to divest to, they have an offender of grape rate of 58, almost 59,000. Compared to black men, 27,000 grape offenders in 2022. Okay? That's a pretty big gap, right? So what makes our women go out into the world, get on these YouTube spaces, and try and attribute grape to black men? Because if you look at, if it was all black men, and this is not just all black men, this is women included as well. And when they say grape, we're talking about, you know, child stuff as well. So it's a lot of that. This constitutes 0.13% of the 20 million black men, hypothetically. That 27,000. I don't know what the black community gains to try and make it seem like all black men are just inherently dangerous. Maybe y'all can answer that question for me. I don't know. So put in the chat if y'all learned something today. Because I know a lot of people were like, man, so you really mean to tell me that what, less than 5% of the black men are causing all these issues in the black community? Then why would the black community run out there and say, you know, make it seem like all black men are causing all these problems? Wonder why they would do that. Maybe it's conditioning. Maybe it's to keep us separated. Maybe it's to keep black women thinking that black men are inherently dangerous. Maybe it's for the fact that they want society to believe that black men are inherently dangerous. That's why I take offense to guys like that brother getting on panels and saying black men are the weakest link. When you say black men, you're saying that as it's all black men, and that's a problem. So we have to be very clear on these spaces. It's embarrassing, man. So we got to do some history for this one, guys, because this brother mentioned that we don't have any black hospitals. You know, we don't have any black banks, and that's one of the points that's a sore spot for the black community because they never do the research on these things. I've actually talked about this before. If you guys remember a while back when we did the live stream about Tavis Smiley, I did some research on black businesses, you know, our top black investors, all of that stuff, right? We talked about Robert Smith, all that. But I'm going to give you a little bit of history in regards to black hospitals. Recently as 2015, we only had 2 black hospitals, and they were still standing over the years that, you know, when black people did have hospitals. But this is one that I wanted to highlight for you guys for a really good reason.
Undergoing a transformation to give families there a new home for health and wellness. Let's go to KPRC2 Sabira Rayford live tonight with those details on the county's plan. Sabira?
For years, this historic building has sat empty. Now it's getting a new purpose, and neighbors say it's about time. You see a building with chipped paint and broken windows. Linda Harris sees shatterproof memories.
Houston Negro Hospital, I was born there.
A historical landmark. It opened in 1927. It was the first local nonprofit hospital for black patients. Years later, it became Riverside General Hospital. It shut down in 2015 after a Medicare scandal, leaving many people in this neighborhood shut out of accessible health care.
The lower income people are the one that mostly need the health care the most.
According to the Episcopal Health Foundation's data map, this area is plagued with low health outcomes. Life expectancy is 68 years old. 21% of families earn less than 125% of the federal poverty level, which is currently $34,000 for a family of 4. And 13% of people in this area don't have health insurance. In the Heights, life expectancy is 81 years old, and only 5% of residents there are below the federal poverty line.
If you go 2 blocks over, you see, you know, dilapidated houses and individuals in need of mental health.
Monday, Harris County leaders announced a new plan for the building. It will be the home of Harris County Public Health's Access Division, which stands for Accessing Coordinated Care and Empowering Self-Sufficiency. Initially, they'll focus on black maternal health, homelessness, behavioral health conditions, violence prevention, and more.
I'm glad that they're pulling us in and making it noteworthy.
And phase one of this plan is expected to be completed in 2025, and it's expected to cost around $16 million. Reporting live in the Third Ward, Sabir Rayford, KPRC 2 News.
All right. I actually went out there to Riverside Hospital, man, to see what they were doing. So it was actually closed down in 2015 and it is being reopened. Yeah. So we'll have another black hospital in Houston again. So I actually went out there on a Saturday just to get some video and also look at the plans that they have for the future. And 2025, like she said, phase one is going to start. That used to serve a lot of black folks right in the heart of the Third Ward in Houston. And being that I live in the Houston area, was just an easy trip to go down there, get some video and show you guys. And it also contributes to the conversation of history, you know, with black hospitals. Just to let you guys know, man, I'm dedicated to this. And I want to make sure that the black community knows that we care. And hopefully this will be a change. And also, like I said, this was one of the two that was still open. Do we have any HBCU alumni in the building?
The hospital is only one of two traditionally black hospitals still in operation today in the U.S. The hospital used to be known as Freedmen's Hospital, and it was founded in 1862. And it was also the only federally funded medical facility for the black community in the U.S. at the time, according to Duke University's Medical Center Library. So this hospital was also a place of refuge for formerly enslaved people where they could receive medical attention. And this was also established by the Freedmen's Bureau. And in addition to this, Howard University's medical school appointed Dr. Andrea A. Hayes Dixon as its first black woman to serve as dean in September 2022. However, there are other notable pioneers in the medical community that are attached to this historical hospital. For example, Dr. Daniel Hale Williams is not only the first person to successfully perform open heart surgery, he also founded the first black-owned and operated hospital in the U.S. He was a surgeon-in-chief at Freedmen's Hospital.
Thank you, young sister, for putting that together. So I see we got a lot of people who went to HBCUs, Compton State University. JT, my man. What's going on? He said, shout out to Grambling. Absolutely. Hampton U, the only black hospital that we actually have standing till this day right now and still in working order is on Howard University campus. So I just wanted to give you guys some history in regards to, you know, the topic that we're discussing. I lived in the DMV for 6 years. And I did not know that Howard University was the only black hospital that we had standing. She said two. She was referring to Riverside General Hospital in Houston, the one that I went to, but it was just closed or whatever, is being renovated and opened again. You guys heard public health in there, right? Like I said, I'm a lead public health analysis. I've been a public health professional for almost 20 years now. We're definitely doing great things for the black community, but it's funny that every time we have these discussions about people saying that we don't have black hospitals and things of that nature, we kind of minimize the great work that a lot of black medical professionals have done in these spaces. And I'm tired of people doing that. And I'm going to highlight them here in a second. But let me just give you a little bit of history on black hospitals while I bring up this picture from a book that I actually downloaded and got a chance to review on the history of black hospitals. Y'all see that? Black hospitals in America. History, Contributions, and Demise. A comprehensive review of the history, contributions, and demise of the more than 500 black hospitals of the 20th century. So there was a time where the black community had 500 hospitals in the United States. So there were 500 black hospitals in the United States at the height of segregation. 18 in Detroit. Today, there's only one. Howard University Medical Center. Many of these hospitals struggle financially and suffered from mismanagement, but the primary cause of their extinction was the legislation that established Medicare and Medicaid in 1965 at the height of the civil rights movement. Did you guys know that black hospitals start to shut down because Medicare and Medicaid was invented? Federally funded healthcare became a tool for the government to enforce the desegregation of white-run hospitals that had denied medical privileges to African American physicians and declined to treat African American patients. Hospitals who wished to receive Medicare and Medicaid payments for their care of elderly or low-income patients had to conform with federal civil rights laws. So, white hospitals was basically told that if you don't serve black folks, you will not get paid. And this was the reason why those 500 black hospitals, or well, 499 black hospitals were ran out because of this. Hospitals who wish to receive Medicare, Medicaid, let me see here. In short, if white hospitals wanted to be able to receive government money, they had to allow black doctors to practice and black patients to be seen. Again, the government. If black folks would have just stuck to their guns, and we had some missteps, man. We definitely had some missteps. Y'all see where I'm going with this? God, dog. Sheesh. That's, let me stop, man. The government gives us Medicare and Medicaid, and we just stop supporting black hospitals. Jesus Christ. All right. So here's some other historical nuggets on black hospitals. Until the 20th century American civil rights movement, black Americans were either denied admission to hospitals, both in the North and in the South, or faced segregation wards. To provide a safe space for black Americans to receive care, segregated black hospitals were created. The Georgia Infirmary was founded in 1832 as the first segregated black hospital, and several others were created by the end of the 19th century. Georgia Infirmary is dedicated to helping elderly and physically disabled persons as independently as possible. The organization's risk history includes operating the first hospital in the United States for African Americans, the first training center in the nation for African American nurses, and the first Medicare certified comprehensive outpatient rehabilitation center. Wow. Black American medical students were excluded from training programs, and Black American physicians lacked resources for their practices. Black physicians created spaces within medicine during the Black hospital movement between 1920 and 1945. So that was just a little bit of quick history on black hospitals. How many of you guys didn't know that Medicare and Medicaid actually led to the demise of the 499 black hospitals? That's crazy, right? And we start to see how the government comes in and the black community just jumps right on it. The same thing happened with welfare. That's crazy. We had some missteps in the past that's affecting us in the future. Okay, so let me go ahead and give some shine to these black professionals doing it in black healthcare. So look at this, 149 black healthcare leaders to know in 2023. If you guys don't know, black folks are actually doing very well in regards to healthcare. And I grabbed a couple. I didn't get all 149, but I do want to acknowledge a couple of them first. So if you guys look here on the left, this is the actual website where you can get a background of all of the black power players in the healthcare field. And these are the people that, you rarely hear talked about in social media society and network TV because they don't think that these types of black folks exist. And we just get minimized to, well, we don't have any black hospitals. Well, what about these black folks who actually run these hospitals, who are in corporate positions in these healthcare fields? Why don't we ever talk about them? Is that not progress? Is that not progress in the black community? It's crazy to me. If you look on the right side, you'll see the Power List top 50 chief diversity officers. We have Pamela Abner. Now, this one is going to shock you. Do y'all know who Greg Adams is? Look at his title. It says chair and chief executive officer. Greg Adams is the chair and chief officer of Kaiser Foundation Health Plan and Hospitals. I'm pretty sure you guys know what Kaiser is. My mother used to actually work at Kaiser. Did y'all know that a black man was the chief executive officer of Kaiser? Yeah, go figure, right? This brother right here is a medical doctor. His name is Paul Alexander, and he also has an MPH, which your boy has as well. He is the executive vice president and chief health equity and transformation officer at RWJB Barnabas Health in Orange, New Jersey. And then we got Chris Allen. He is he was the intern. He is now the CFO of Keck Medicine of USC. That's University of Southern California in Los Angeles. Dr. Michelle Allen right here. She is the senior vice president and chief medical officer of NYC Health Plus Hospitals in New York City. Natasia Allen. She is a healthcare director of operations development and operations. She of Jasper Hampton Comprehensive Health Services in South Carolina, Beaufort, South Carolina. And then we have Nurse Rowe. Diane Rowe, Aro. She is a senior vice president and chief nursing officer at Virginia Mason Franciscan Health in Tacoma, Washington. Marcy Atchison. She is a senior vice president, chief human resources officer of Stanford Medicine Children's Health in Palo Alto, California, Stanford University. And then Tamai Austin, senior vice president, patient care systems and chief nurse executive. She is a PhD now, Dr. Austin. She is the chief nurse executive at BJC Healthcare. Dr. Fran Witt out of Springfield, Georgia. She is the president and CEO of Effingham Health Systems. And then we have Al Campbell. He is the president of Beth Israel Lahey Health, Winchester Hospital, Cambridge, Massachusetts. Hey guys, the overarching point for me to do that was to just, I guess insert some hope, man. We on our way. Like right here in Houston, we're trying to open up, we're about to open up a new hospital, renovated. Howard still has their black-owned hospital up and running. And just to give you a little bit of history on why we don't have the 500 that we used to, right? So yeah, and also highlight those individuals that are doing great things in the healthcare world and just not, I guess, dismissing that, well, they don't own anything, that doesn't mean anything. Like, brother, we're progressing. So hopefully that helps, gives you a little bit of insight. One of my favorite YouTube channels, I've shared some of their videos before, Black Excellence. Have y'all heard of this channel? Let's talk about black banks and let's dispel this rumor right now that we don't have any black banks.
Welcome back. In this Black Excellence series, we will highlight 50 Black-owned banks and credit unions. Black-owned banks and their not-for-profit equivalent credit unions are intentional about helping the Black community and offering an alternative for residents who have been consistently discriminated against by other financial institutions. These banks specialize in connecting Black customers with financial services when others won't. They lend to Black homeowners when larger institutions don't. And they provide working capital to small Black-owned businesses when they need it the most.
Welcome to Black Excellence. This is where we celebrate Black excellence, achievement, and affluence. Our mission is to inspire you as we enlighten you.
Number 1, First Choice Credit Union, with more than $38 million in assets.
I just want to give some feedback from you guys. Did you guys know that we have about 50 black banks in the United States? 50 majority black-owned banks in the United States. If you guys don't know what that actually means, I actually got the definition. So what makes a bank black-owned? Black-owned banks are depository institutions where black people own 51% or more of the stock. These financial institutions are typically located in communities of color and provide a source of local economic support. So that's what makes a black bank.
Number 2, All America Bank with more than 15 million in assets. Andrews Federal Credit Union with more than 2 billion in assets. Since 1948, Andrews Federal has been proudly serving members both in the military and in our civilian communities. Number 4, Brookland Federal Credit Union, over 4 million in assets. Number 5, Brooklyn Cooperative Federal Credit Union, over 55 million in assets. Number 6, Carver State Bank, over 79 million in assets. Number 7, Citizens Bank, over $139 million in assets. Number 8, Citizens Trust Bank, over $812 million in assets. In
$812 million in assets.
Number 9, City First Bank, over $1 billion in assets. This black-operated bank is a subsidiary of Broadway Financial Corp. That was founded in 1998. In 2021, City First Bank merged with Broadway Federal Bank to become the largest black-led MDI in the U.S. Number 10, Columbia Savings and Loan, over 26 million in assets.
Necessary. I wanted to put that out there just to show you guys that, yes, we do have black-owned banks, and that was just good to share with you guys. Hopefully you learned something, especially about the black hospitals and why we went down from having 500 to only having one, and one being renovated. So we'll have 2. And so guys, just before you get on platforms and you say a polarizing message such as black men are the weakest link, you're associating that to all black men, and that's a bad look, especially when you're in front of black women.